What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we'll be discussing Deepwoken's Hallowtide 2023 and what to expect from this. So what is Deepwoken's Hallowtide? If you weren't around last year for this seasonal event, it's going to return on the 27th of October, and let's talk about what happened back in 2022. Deepwoken's Hallowtide revolved around a specific key location, the Spellheart Floating Keep. For those unfamiliar, you would access the Spellheart Floating Keep to interact with various seasonal NPCs to receive rewards and perform fun activities up in the sky. Of course, there was lore and other things, but yeah, it was pretty cool. If you've been keeping an eye on Deepwoken Battle Royale, the lobby where everybody runs around is the same as the Floating Keep, so it should look familiar. Anyway, you would access the Floating Keep by heading on over to the Isle of Vigils and interacting with a special pumpkin NPC that would transport you up into the keep. I'm not sure myself, but this year it's probably gonna have the same sort of transportation at the Isle of Vigils, but the only thing different that might be confusing is that the Floating Keep was only in the Etrian Luminant and not the Eastern Luminant. In the East, there's no Isle of Vigils since it's a fully separate server, but it seems a bit annoying to have the Floating Keep only in the Etrian Luminant, but I guess we'll see what they do. When you're up in the sky, you can interact with several different Lightborns, but the main focus of Hallowtide was scaring NPCs around the map with your mask. Crafting a mask required 3 different exclusive items that drop from chests, being shell stock, paperette, and fine ink to make a mask. As you can see, I'm equipped with an epic Hallowtide mask, and you would walk around scaring NPCs to obtain joy to earn specific items up in the keep. Last year, we were able to turn in our joy for some goodies that, aren't too rare today. Some rare items back in the day were deep gems and void feathers, which cost 15 joy respectively, but this may return with other options like Bounder Claws or Frozen Membrane from the Layer 2 mobs. Besides this, there were also some fun cosmetic options being, from Rogue Lineage. The Familiar Priest's Helmet, which was the Church Knight Helmet, the Familiar Knight's Helm, which was the Sigil Knight Helmet, and finally the Familiar Heretic's Helmet, which was from the Dark Sigil Knight. Each of these helmets were inspired from their previous game, Rogue Lineage, and were soulbound to the character. It's also worth mentioning that these cosmetics had no stat requirements and could be worn on any build. The last and most valuable cosmetic option available from last year was the Hallowtide variants of every single race, which you kept for your entire slot and account, and if you did not obtain these, you probably could get them this time. Besides this, there were also 3 different weapons for Hallowtide, starting off with the Hollow's Cleave, which was a pumpkin medium weapon, the Skull Piercer, a bone rapier, and the final weapon, the Skyreap Bone Blade Scythe, and each of these weapons were soulbound and very unique, and they each required 75 weapon investment, making them very accessible on any build. So yeah, that was last year, but now what do I think's coming this year? We actually received some sort of teaser for this, and let me break it down. This small post, Hallowtide Returns 10/27, has some pretty cool Easter eggs, so we need to take a look at this. In the foreground of this image, we have some sort of Deepwoken metal looking spear, which could be a medium weapon for this year, and Evangelion fans, it kind of looks like the Spear of Longinus, so it could be what we get this time. In the background of this post, we see a castle, which seems to be the Floating Keep, so no surprise here, it's gonna return. Now, in the bottom of this image, we have a small picture of a weird looking dragon head, maybe a spellcasting scepter or staff, and I've seen some funny memes showing off this Wizard 101 guy, so it could be some sort of weapon related to spellcasting or just there for fun. For any of these weapons, you'll probably need 75 weapon investments, just like last time, but I don't really know what they're gonna do. And everybody is freaking out about, and I see a lot of people talking about how this looks like a mushroom, and there could be a few ideas around this. Of course, if we're talking about Deepwoken, there could be some sort of evil Halloween monster mash potion exclusive to Hallowtide, or it could be a little bit more silly and unrelated. Based on the last year event, there could be a whole new race or something similar surrounding Rogue Lineage, and it could be the Scroom race. So basically, Scrooms in this game are pretty iconic for just being mushrooms, and they don't need food or anything, they just exist, and it could be funny to see in Deepwoken. On the other hand, it's so hard to see this symbol, it could honestly be the head of a mace, I don't really know. We haven't got any new medium clubs for a long time, and it could be interesting to see a Hallowtide exclusive club. Now that's about all we can really obtain from this specific leak, but of course here's what I'd like to see. I'm a big fan of anything that lets us have more cosmetic builds like variants or races, so I want to see this. A long time ago I made a ton of Lifeweave Rot races as shown here, but it's still a concept that could be cool for Hallowtide. That's about it, and those are my thoughts on this year's Hallowtide celebration, but feel free to comment down below what you think that they'll be doing. As always, make sure to like and subscribe because we're almost at 65k subs, so let's get there. Thanks again, it's punchin' time.